We've all been there, guys. That time where we're so broke that we don't even know where our food's gonna come from. Or where we're so broke that we have to eat ramen noodles. Not necessarily the not knowing where our food comes from. Usually most of us know someone who we could get food from if we're really that desperate. But look, the object and the subject of this video is to honestly ask you guys to not eat ramen noodles if you're broke. Because at the end of the day, that's pretty much the same debt. That's just another form of debt. It's health debt. At the end of the day, ramen noodles is legitimately one of the worst, if not the worst food to ever consume in this world. And I mean the Maruchan ramen noodles. There are other ramen noodles that aren't so bad, but really, ramen noodles are just not a good thing to eat. It's like eating it as a luxury. You can tell that it's a luxury because you have all the carrot, the cabbage, all the extra stuff, like maybe some pieces of ham, all this different stuff. But ramen noodles from Walmart, that the 12 pack, that's $2. Guys, if you're broke, please don't eat that. I know it sounds crazy, but genuinely speaking, now this is not me talking to people with kids, but at the same time, I'm kind of talking to everybody. If you are so broke to where you need to like have very cheap food, I would genuinely recommend you just eat less. And what I mean by that is buy a bag of apples and eat 2 apples a day. I'm not even joking with you, bro. Now, the reason I say this is because ramen noodles have so many bad things in them, but specifically, a thing I'm focusing on is the salt. That stuff is a one-way ticket to high blood pressure, regardless of who you think you are, regardless of how good your genetics are. The food is so superiorly bad for you that it will supersede everything that you think you're doing good for yourself and saving of the money by giving you health issues and later in life not. It's going to cost you money. It's going to make your insurance higher. It's going to make you have to pay for medicine, so co-pays and things of that nature, because you spent $2 today instead of like maybe like $5 for a bag of apples that can span over the course of 3 days. You know, I guarantee you ramen noodles isn't. Now I'm not going to guarantee, but it's highly likely that ramen noodles will not last you 3 to 4 to 5 to a whole week. Now if you are eating 1 pack a day, then of course, yeah, it can. But there's just genuinely no actual benefit other than giving your stomach something to look forward to. But in reality, that stuff hurts you in so many more ways than just one, and it's just not the way, bro. So the salt, quite literally, it has so much sodium in it that 1 pack is like how much? It's like 50 or 60% of your actual sodium that you should have for the day. Now there are things that you can do to make ramen noodles better. You know, like maybe add some green onions. Add some maybe a couple of vegetables like some carrots if you have that. But there you go, right then and there. That defeats the purpose of it being cheap because now you gotta buy green onions and then you gotta buy carrots. And if you want some extra flavor in it, like I used to make cheesy noodles back in the day. Put a piece of cheese in it and then put some hot sauce, and that is not healthy. It's actually worse. But I was a kid, so I could handle that kind of blowback when it comes to the bad sides of noodles. But dude, I guarantee you, fasting is literally your best bet. If you're so broke to where food is actually a luxury to you, to where you can't afford it except for certain times on your paycheck, then bro, I'm just telling to you as a person who genuinely cares about your health, don't eat that stuff. Just buy a bag of apples, bro, or maybe a bag of oranges. But an apple is better because it has a lot more nutrients. Oranges have nutrients, but it's like an explosive amount of vitamin C, and then other things it has too. But apples have like almost a little bit of everything. It's kind of like almost like coconut water, to where it has a little bit of everything in it that you would need just to have a healthy lifestyle. But the thing about the whole ramen noodle, so say you have a job where you have to do physical labor all day. I'm gonna sit here and tell it to you, man, that stuff is not gonna help you with that. But I will tell you what does: an apple. Why? Because when you sweat, right? When you sweat, you release water and obviously salt. And then an apple has, 86% water inside of it. So it's going to replace a lot of that new water that you lost in your body. So, and then not just that, but of course it has like potassium, which helps your blood flow, which helps you, get your blood pumping so that you can move and do what you need to do for the day if you have a physical job. But noodles, the only thing that stuff's going to give you is genuine brain fog, and you're just going to be a tired son of a gun. And if you keep eating them for, long term and stuff over the course of, with the hope of saving money, you're actually going to hurt yourself to the point to where you're just going to be like, okay, I'm done for. High blood pressure, here we come. Medicine, here we come. And the thing is, no one's going to tell you that stuff until it's too late. But you can get rid of high blood pressure, just eat right. Guess what? You get it. What? Guess what you can eat to get rid of high blood pressure? Apples. So it's like, at the end of the day, dude, if you have $6 and you need to like spread some food over the course of a couple of days, hey man, just buy a bag of apples, bro. For real. Like for real, for real. Because they have so much more nutrition than anything else. And this is coming from a person who actually does this, because like I said, I was thinking about buying noodles, because I told you guys, hey, I'm not going to be eating out anymore. I'm done with that. And for the past 3 to 4 days, I've actually stuck to my guns. Day one was the absolute hardest, bro. I picked up my phone so many times to get that Uber Eats going, bro. I promise you, bro. And I was right there. It said checkout. And then I was like, man, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. And I kept on beating myself up. And I said that. And I didn't order the food. But guess what I did go do? I went to grab a bag of apples. I know I'm riding apples hard right now, but I'm really like talking up on them because it's really that good for you. And it's not just that it's good for you. It's just that ramen noodles, I get it. It's the struggle meal, and it's there for a reason, because people, even when you're not struggling, they taste good. I love the chicken flavor, bro. I love the beef flavor. I love ramen noodles. But they don't love me, bro, because when they get into my body and after I've enjoyed the flavor, what happens after is just not fun. I feel lethargic. I feel tired. I don't want to do anything. So talking about creating videos, yeah, right. That's not happening, bro. That's just me being honest with everybody here. But with that being said, man, I really just wanted to put that out there and just say, hey, man, like maybe I'll go in depth later or something like that. But man, I got to get to work here soon. So I just really wanted to say, like, the struggle meal, I get it. We've all had that point to where we didn't have money. But we do have money, but only how much? You might, bro, I didn't even mention this, but man, I used to work at City Gear, dude, and I used to eat 35-cent canned potatoes from Aldi with some ketchup for flavor, bro. I used to do that just to survive. And I didn't even know how broke I was. I never thought about it. But I used to work at City Gear, this clothing store, and we had barely any hours. They gave me like 20 hours a week. Funny thing is, they said it was $9 an hour and I was going to be a manager in training. So I was cool with that, of course. And guess what? That wasn't it. They said, nah, we need an inventory person. And then they said it was $8.50. That's all we can give you. I worked that, ate canned potatoes, and I had to pay rent, and I barely had money, bro. But the funny thing is, the first thing I reached for was canned potatoes, not ramen noodles, funny enough. And I can't even explain why, but that's just what I did. But man, that's all we got for today, man. This has been Yappa Like Gaming. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm about to go to work. Peace out, y'all.